Alright, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 AlphaStar replay cast. I just did a lot of commentary for a Freako World over the past 3 days. However, can't miss out on our AlphaStar games, so gonna check out one of these right now. In the bottom right hand side of the map, we have got, representing humanity, a blue Terran player. We don't know his name, but we're gonna see if he's gonna go down in glory or not. And in the top left-hand side of the map, it is none other than the machine itself, AlphaStar. AlphaStar playing Terran. I don't check out too many mirror matchups between AlphaStar, however. It's important to see it play basically every single matchup that it can, just to see exactly where it is at. And yeah, so this should be a fun match to watch. AlphaStar taking on a Masters Terran. Pulling up that production tab, we have got ourselves a double gas from each player, so a very TVT build. Double gas is pretty common when you're playing versus other Terrans because you want to get out the quick factory, basically because the matchup is can be so chaotic early on. For those of you that have been around in StarCraft 2, TVT essentially used to be always early game attacks. It didn't matter what map or who you were playing. Like TVT was always one guy would attack the other. Now and sometimes you'd have a bit of a base race. Now it's not exactly like that. Players are still pretty aggressive, but not quite as aggressive. Like it's more of like a Hellion Reaper presence than necessarily like going for early game drops and stuff. But it's still a banger to watch. TVT, such a fun matchup to watch. It's super stressful to play. For those of you that play Terran, I'm sure you understand or even have tried playing Terran once or twice. It's super stressful to play just because no matter what stage you're at, you can lose a Terran versus Terran matchup. Just with the way siege tanks work, the way rapid drops work, it's just possible for you to be like, oh, things are going fine, and then a second later, it's just not fine, as your opponent gets a drop off or charges into attack. It's always tough to say who's gonna win a TVT right up until you see the flag waving, basically. Now, for the Masters player, we have got a command center on the way. AlphaStar not taking that just yet. It has elected to go for a starport before that, while getting up a tech lab on the barracks, interestingly enough, and building another one for the starport. So curious play there. AlphaStar is also just parking its Reaper and Hellion back at its natural, not at the top of its ramp, like human players usually do, as that usually is the favorite thing to do. It gives you that high ground vision, lets you get the first shot off, and then yeah, the game's going on from here. Minimal differences in the build between these two players, and still pretty passive. I mean, AlphaStar has its command center a little bit later, but then it also has the slightly quicker starport than the Masters player, so slight build variation here. It's going to amount to essentially nothing in this TVT in the grand scheme of things, I believe. And of course, seeing as how we have a bit of a passive match before things start off, before things really do start kicking off in this Terran versus Terran, make sure to slap that like button. We are at 53 seconds on the clock, so let's try and hit 53 likes on this AlphaStar video. I know you guys will do it and blow it out of the water. And of course, if you're new to the channel, feel free to press that subscribe button, as I put out a lot of AlphaStar content, a lot of other content as well. The whole tournament for Freako World is going to be going up on the channel over the next couple of weeks or so, which is just a lot of really great pro StarCraft 2. So worth checking that out if you haven't. And now let's take a look. The human player going to be pushing on in. AlphaStar's command center isn't quite yet done. However, it's got enough units on the high ground coming down in order to repel his opponent. Let's see. We saw a Hellion die for a Reaper and an SCV. Pretty much equal trade there, nothing in the grand scheme of things. And now AlphaStar, of course AlphaStar is going to build Banshees in a TVT. Probably the matchup which we see the most Banshees. AlphaStar is not one to skip its Banshee, so in it goes with the Banshee, heading towards its opponent's natural. Cloak is already done for AlphaStar as well, so this is going to be very nice for the AI. And take a look, that Banshee cloaks on up is just avoiding the Raven, and the Cyclone does get a lock on those. So this Banshee will meet its end. May it rest in peace. This Terran player going for a Raven, showing us why you often go for Ravens. The third CC was also spotted, so AlphaStar knows its opponent is going to be playing more passive, so we'll see how it's going to react there. Whether it's going to go into like stimmed bio and play Marine Tank, or if it's going to play like Mech or something like that, we have yet to see. Sometimes AlphaStar doesn't play the standard, sometimes it'll just be like, yeah, I don't need stim or anything like that. Looks like the couple Hellions and Reaper are going to be crossing the map for AlphaStar. There's a chance that the Reaper may try and jump on up. We shall see. For now, though, minimal damage has been done on both sides. Looks like the human player is cutting SCV production here and there and is actually behind just a little bit. The two Hellions also going to run on in, just going to try and get whatever they can. Bit of a commitment for AlphaStar. These units will most certainly perish. However, I mean, got a Mule, got a couple of SCVs, not bad. AlphaStar probably just wants to wash its hands with the Hellions too. Now we take a look here. AlphaStar is going for another starport, so it's going to be playing that mass air style that sometimes it likes to do. It does not like to play the standard, not in TVT, so we'll see if it's going to be able to hold on versus what's coming its way. A scan goes down, and this Banshee gets identified, so this Banshee, ooh, okay, avoids the Cyclones. Very good. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Doesn't avoid the Cyclones. Does escape, though, so good for AlphaStar, as it also knows that its opponent is coming this way. It's getting up a bunker. It's got up all of its siege tanks at the back there. The AI should be more than fine here, as it's starting to produce Vikings and another Banshee and a bunker in its main base, which is bad. All the while Cyclones locking on to each other. The bunker going to be receiving fire. AlphaStar is researching hyperflight rotors, so going for its mass Banshee style once again. The bunker does get broken here. The Cyclone, AlphaStar trying to keep it back as well as it can. Raven for AlphaStar, giving that vision as the tanks are trading shots. AlphaStar now has a couple of Vikings out, so it is going to be able to control the skies for now, potentially repel its opponent. Yeah, so far it looks like AlphaStar is indeed holding the aggression that's been sent its way. That being said, though, the Masters player is fine just going back and securing his third base, but we are seeing a prime example here, ladies and gentlemen, of how exactly AlphaStar gets its lead, how it basically just non-stop produces workers. I mean, eventually it'll cut them, but because it's actually supply blocked right now. However, AlphaStar will make workers pretty much non-stop, and humans will tend to forget. So this player has been, while he's been the more aggressive one, is actually down on the worker count, and that's just because he's cut the workers. AlphaStar is getting up at third base while also producing more of its own Vikings. The Banshee Hyperflight Rotor's on the way. This match really is gonna be probably decided by the mass Viking count that both players are going for. AlphaStar producing 3 at a time, whereas his counterpart is going to be playing just producing 2 at a time. So in theory, AlphaStar here should have more Vikings, and with a very healthy siege tank count should potentially be able just to take a nice engagement here. Banshee moving in for AlphaStar, non-stop harassment, nabs off a couple more SCVs, and AlphaStar should be looking to secure its own third base soon, which is really going to help it out. But, oh, look at this. The AI going to be moving out onto the map right now, looking to push across and give the Blue Terran some grief. We'll see if the Blue Terran's going to be able to stop this. There's no stim or anything for AlphaStar. This is pretty much just a siege tank Viking push. Both players keeping eyes on each other. AlphaStar throwing down a scan, even throwing up a turret. That's a bit odd. Throwing up a turret just in the middle of the map. But AlphaStar does want to push on in now. It's all going to be about the Viking versus Viking skirmish, and currently the lead is there for AlphaStar, so it should be able to potentially win the air fight More of its Vikings rolling on up here. Let's see. The Vikings are moving forward for the master player. AlphaStar wants to take the engagement. Both players scanning, as a matter of fact. AlphaStar even gets up its odd mid-map turret. AlphaStar going to start moving some tanks a little bit forward here. For now, though, it is kind of just derping here, not pushing on in. It wants to, but it's not going to happen. The Vikings for AlphaStar even moving towards the third base. Okay, this is curious. What are these Vikings going to do? AlphaStar, is it going to throw away all of its Vikings and push into its opponent's side of the map? Is it just going to land these in its opponent's main base? This is kind of like a suicide run with all these Vikings. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to land. This is a mass commitment. Auto turrets getting thrown down as well. However, this is a huge commitment for AlphaStar. There's also a siege tank out for its opponent, so these Vikings are going to want to be careful. They're just going to have to lift off and try and get out of here. However, the Vikings of its opponent are coming in as well. The Ravens tossing down auto turrets. This is just a disaster for AlphaStar, losing so many Vikings. It tried to be aggressive, but now his Vikings are just going to be picked off through their inferior count right now. Yeah, I mean, they're going to trade out all right. Actually, come really close to winning that Viking fight. But still, a lot of units lost there for AlphaStar. Banshee's also harassing non-stop, though, so AlphaStar's production is just going to excel it forward here. Take a look at the worker count. AlphaStar has killed 33 of its opponent's workers with Banshees and the likes. This Banshee currently up to 7 kills with that Hyperflight Rotors, and so we are seeing AlphaStar, while it's making some derpy moves, it is generally far ahead in the worker count, 77 to 46. As long as AlphaStar doesn't die to like a poor engagement, it should be fine just to play the game out here and potentially just win out by building a lot more stuff. Hyperflight Rotor Banshees should be able to escape. Let's take a look here. AlphaStar only has a handful of its siege tanks over here in the center of the map now, which is kind of risky. A lot more units are back at home for AlphaStar. It's producing non-stimmed Marines en masse, so AlphaStar just going to be skipping stim. There we go, now stim is starting at the 12-minute mark. What a nuts stim timing there. Let's take a look. The siege tanks of AlphaStar just get interference matrix there, so those are going to be donations to the Blue Terran, and this is where it's going to be a bit scary for the AI. AlphaStar with a high siege tank count. Once again rebuilt a high Viking count, but still going to be tight pressed in order to take on this monstrous of a Terran army. This is so much Blue Terran here. The Vikings are looking for whatever pickoffs they're going to be able to get. However, I mean, it's going to be tough to stop this. It's going to be tough to save the third base for AlphaStar. The Vikings will take care of the Ravens, which is very nice for AlphaStar, not having to worry about those. This means that the Banshees can actually cloak and start working away on these siege tanks. AlphaStar could potentially just lose this base. We shall see, though. Banshee does get picked off, though. Another one is out. AlphaStar has to repair this base. Meanwhile, a second Banshee comes on in, going to start working away on these siege tanks, being a constant pain. Does this Terran player have enough scans? Apparently the answer is no, so he's just going to stim right on in towards the third base. Let's take a look. AlphaStar just playing with the mass air composition here, loses the base, however, does have this other PF down here. It does have another base on the way, and even throws up yet another one. So just absorbing that loss seems to be the plan for AlphaStar, while continuously producing and still having a better income than its opponent. This Terran player is now investing in another CC. AlphaStar as well, getting upgrades going, heading towards 1-1 while its opponent is on 2-2, so it may eventually be able to contend with the Mass Marine versus Mass Marine, but for now, AlphaStar playing it a little bit risky. Oh, AlphaStar moving out on the map with just its Massive Marines. Those boys are going to want to turn around, and yes, they do. No combat shield for them yet, either. AlphaStar not really caring too much about its Marines. The Vikings are going to land at the natural base of its opponent, though AlphaStar just casually says 12 Viking harassment, or however many Vikings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Viking harassment for AlphaStar. Might even be able to get the command center as the CC lifted off, but the Vikings, they can attack both the air and the ground. We're seeing a counterattack go in for the blue Terran, trying to break this location. It's going to be close. AlphaStar sieging up all of its tanks, and while it lost a lot of units, I think it should be cleaned up here just with this one Banshee. There wasn't enough for the blue Terran to push forward, and now the blue Terran player has lost his natural. He's down to 3 bases still. And look at this, yeah, the one Banshee gonna be casually just defending, knocking out the siege tanks. So AlphaStar is fine with this planetary fortress, getting up this other base here, yet another planetary fortress. AlphaStar gonna be floating this base to the top center here. Will it make it an orbital or a PF? A PF. AlphaStar is just saying we're locking this place down. Mass defense. And while the Master's Terran player isn't out of it yet, he's down in army supply. He's having himself a real tough go of it. AlphaStar just plays such an odd style, but is working wonders with it. The mass Vikings, the casual 10 Viking harassment, has done the AI well, giving it a very nice lead. It looks like this planetary fortress might be able to be picked off before it's finished. That's a nice pickoff. However, this blue Terran does not want to go too far in. Otherwise, he will just lose his units to the siege tanks. AlphaStar as well. Not made combat shield just yet. It just doesn't care about that upgrade, apparently, which is really rather odd. But AlphaStar, I mean, does at least have stim pack, if no combat shield. Or wait, AlphaStar doesn't have stim pack. Did it cancel its stim pack? Or did it just never get it in the first place and I'm crazy? AlphaStar, just with the mass non-stimmed Marines. Anyway, the 3 Banshee hit squad out on the map, just jetting around because that's what AlphaStar does. It uses Banshees non-stop, being a big pain. AlphaStar flying around with this Vikings, potentially looking for any easy pickoffs. However, so far, nothing just yet. The blue Terran player just trying to build up whatever he can, but his economy is so far down. He's floating over this base here, but oh, look at this, the Banshee harassment, going to be picking off these SCVs as they transfer, and this is not an economic loss that the blue Terran player can sustain, really. These Banshees just giving him a world of grief. AlphaStar now going to be crossing the map with its whole army, it looks like, and this is going to be tough. This blue Terran player, I don't know if he's going to be able to intercept this. He's just trying to deal with the fast Banshees jetting around the map. Looks like he does catch one of them, however the other's cloaking. Oh, he scans, but they get away still. Not good there for the blue Terran. AlphaStar now pushing in with the mass siege tank, with the mass non-stimmed Marines, and that CC just gets annihilated. This blue Terran player, I expect, is going to be tapping out sooner rather than later. He's trying to open up a pathway to attack out of the north, I guess. But you can't really just ignore this big army on your doorstep. He's making a couple Thors to try and help out, I guess, with the anti-air to help repel the Banshees and the Vikings. But looks like we're going to be having one final base trade hurrah from this Terran player. AlphaStar, what does it have back at home? The answer is not a lot. But this blue Terran player is still going to be tight pressed to make a good engagement happen. If he catches all of AlphaStar's tanks on speed, I think he'd be able to do it, but AlphaStar is just inching towards victory here as it pushes in towards his opponent's natural. That's going to be another orbital command dead. This other base floating towards the north, really making this a full-on base race. One siege tank is set up for AlphaStar. It does get picked off, so AlphaStar will have its production compromised. So building's just going to start lifting off left, right, and center. However, AlphaStar, with the Viking count, is going to be able to pick these buildings off a lot easier. AlphaStar has a lot more production going on behind this. It's still got planetary fortresses to fall back to. 3 of them, as a matter of fact, making yet another one. It's actually just going to turn this base into a PF. It's like, right, I just want every unit I can get. So AlphaStar building the random PF out on the map. But it's like, yep, I just need to keep any bases I can alive. So that is its choice. Another base also building down here for AlphaStar. AlphaStar, yeah, just looking good. I mean, the blue Terran has an orbital command out on the map, but AlphaStar is just throwing down CCs everywhere. It's got the money. It just says, right, we're in a base race, so I gotta try and keep everything. I just gotta throw up more and more bases, apparently. AlphaStar taking the base race very, very literally. And, AlphaStar is kind of dragging its feet as far as the actual base race goes. I've cast one other base race with AlphaStar, and it did end up losing, getting eliminated as it kind of dragged its feet along. We'll see this game, though. AlphaStar losing a Viking or two to the Marines of the blue Terran player. Marines catch themselves a couple of Vikings, but there's the main army of AlphaStar now moving across the map. AlphaStar having its command centers be found and canceled here. Still has a ton of production though, or at least a ton of bases, not a ton of production, but AlphaStar is still in this game. It's going to be looking for a final fight, and I think this one actually is going to be dictated by who wins that final fight. If this Blue Terran can take down AlphaStar's army, there's really not a lot of production for AlphaStar going. So, if he can take this fight, there's only 2 siege tanks here for AlphaStar, so there is a chance that this Blue Terran is going to be able to smash AlphaStar's army and win the game as a result. AlphaStar is trying to get up some starports to likely build Banshees in order to just use the Banshees in the base races. They're fantastic in that position, but here we go. In goes the Blue Terran. He's charging in. This is going to be the big engagement. AlphaStar's non-stim Marines are not going to be a match for what his opponent has, so we could actually be seeing a big throw from AlphaStar here. Oh, I thought it had this game. I thought it did, but no, the AI not able to contend with the big old army. Looks like the Viking's going to harass, kill some of the final SCVs of his opponents. They're doing nothing more than buying a little bit of time, though, as this Blue Terran player now knows he just needs to push across the map everywhere. We do take a look, though. AlphaStar is getting dangerously close to completing these starports, which could lead it to Banshee production. Meanwhile, bases are mining all over for AlphaStar. It's still mining with 55 workers, so it's definitely not hurting in the economy, but it is going to be tough. It needs to stay alive in order for it to get out enough of these Banshees. While the Blue Terran player going to be moving across the map, going to be trying to pick off bases. Definitely can't go this way because of this PF. AlphaStar now says, right, it's time for 21-minute combat shield. Alas, but it is denied. The one medivac worth its weight in gold for this Blue Terran player. Just to try and deal up these Marines to allow them to stim pack. This base is being shelled at, however, it's also being repaired, so it's going to take a long time for the Blue Terran to break this location, and the first round of Banshees are about to pop out for AlphaStar. This could be all the AI needs in order to force the GG. There's just one orbital command to scan here, and oh, AlphaStar had a ton of siege tanks hiding out somewhere. What? Where were all these siege tanks, AlphaStar? What? We're gonna check that out, what they were doing during that final fight after this. But okay, apparently AlphaStar is in a much better spot than we thought. As it's getting its production online, it's got Banshees now jettisoning across the map. Gonna be finding supply depots here, and this Blue Terran player just can't break this location. This PF just keeps getting repaired here. And he can't really stim in with his bio because he doesn't have enough medivacs. A couple of Marines gonna be moving in. Siege tank for AlphaStar going to be getting set up. Looks like it will be picked off, but there's the Banshees. They can cloak. There's nothing that the Blue Terran player can do. He's going to lose those Marines. He's going to crash onto this PF, but AlphaStar has plenty more bases where that came from. So I think while AlphaStar came close to throwing this game, while there is potential for it to lose, it has done it. AlphaStar has done it. Dare I say, the siege tank setting on up these Marines are not going to stand a chance, so the Blue Terran just going to lose his last few remaining units, really. I mean, he's got a couple, or like a handful left, but these guys are very overstimmed. He's got the one base, but that's it. GG. AlphaStar wins the Terran versus Terran, and okay, we have got to go take a look at where were all those siege tanks during that actual big fight? Were these tanks just like hiding out, just doing their own thing? Yeah, while AlphaStar, or while this base was being taken, all these tanks, were they just here the whole time? Oh my gosh, I think they were. Yeah, AlphaStar gets its butt kicked over here. All the while, it's got... How many tanks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 siege tanks. Just sitting all over here. I didn't even notice them because they were just off in some random spot of the map. Okay, well, that's a big derp for AlphaStar. However, ladies and gentlemen, it did win the game, so if you enjoyed AlphaStar winning, leave a like. If you feel bad for humanity, leave a like as well. And of course, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I put out a lot of Starcraft 2 content. And if you are just checking out the AlphaStar videos, feel free to check out some of the other ones. I mean, you probably enjoy Starcraft 2 if you're watching AlphaStar play, so check out some of the pros play. See the beauty in their games. And of course, I also have a Discord that's pretty new. It's kind of grown, which is awesome to see. We're having a fun time in it, so feel free to check that out. And of course, I also did recently add memberships to the channel, so feel free to check that out if you like. No obligation or whatever, but feel free to do so. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. This has been LaughNgamez.